Welcome back then to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, nestled just 30 minutes outside the beautiful city of Barcelona, of course. A 4.7 kilometre long layout, sensational array of fast corners, tight turns, hard-braking zones, that 1 kilometre famous long straight, and plenty of overtaking opportunities across the classes here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's time for race 2 of the day, race 1 of 2 in the Moto2 European Championship, as we get some nice slow-mo shots of the paddock here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A great place to be if you like the warm weather, because it is absolutely scorching today. It's been scorching all weekend. We were here yesterday, Jack, weren't we? And it was positively warm, around 29, 30 degrees. We were out watching a bit of the action and so, yeah, had to slap on the sun cream, didn't we? Absolutely. But today it's even warmer. You've just been outside speaking to Moto3 winner Jose Antonio Rueda. And yeah, you came back in the box and said, yeah, it's absolutely scorching.
Yeah, one of the things with this place is it's just outside the city, and it really is quite a bit warmer outside the city for some reason here in Barcelona. It's just the way that it works. In this place, even more so. It's a proper little pressure cooker. All the heat just seems to come into it and bounce back up to us. But here's what happened last time out in Valencia.
Only one race then for the Moto2 class in Valencia, and it was Lucas Tulovic starting on pole position. At the start, there was a lead group of 3 breaking clear, including Tulovic, Agius and Escrig, but unfortunately that was Agius crashing out of the lead, so that left Tulovic and Escrig to battle it out at the front. That was Agius there overtaking Tulovic. This is the group, the pair of riders that broke clear, and it was a bit of a cat and mouse game, not sure what was going on. They were saying afterwards that the grip was really, really poor. This is Escrig there looking behind him and allowing Lucas Tulovic to go through, and unfortunately for Escrig, from then on in, he wasn't able to repass Lucas Tulovic, as Tulovic took his 3rd win of the campaign, 3 from 3, and this weekend he's starting from pole position once again. Really dominant force has been the German so far.
Yeah, he's been pretty incredible in 2022 so far. Of course, lots of experience in this Moto2 European Championship class. Was pretty solid last year, of course, finished 3rd overall, but never picked up a victory. But this year, the floodgates have opened. With others vacating from the top, it seems as though Tulovic has taken up the mantle. And as we say, 75 points from 75. He is doing very, very good indeed.
Beautiful conditions. Clear blue skies, not a cloud in sight. Good to see spectators, of course, attending this weekend after attending the Grand Prix last weekend. A few in the grandstand, great to see. But yeah, this is Lucas Tulovic, the championship leader, 3rd straight pole, 3 race wins, and here is what happened in qualifying.
Yeah, I enjoy a lot being on the pole position. Of course, makes good confidence and a perfect starting position for the 2 races we have on Sunday. So we start from the best possible position. We have a good speed, we have a good pace, so we are confident for tomorrow. Yeah, it's quite important because we have a long run down to the first corner. The pole position is on the outside, so we are on the ideal line. You can go straight until the braking point. So we made a lot of practice starts. It looks quite okay. So I hope we can make the whole shot and see how the race develops with some fast riders behind. Yeah, it looks like until qualifying 1, Speech was a bit far. Now he's there, so I think we can have a similar battle like we had in Valencia.
Lucas Tulovic then on pole once again here in the Moto2 European Championship, and last year he was on the front row in 3rd place behind Fermin Aldeguer and Alonso Lopez, who of course moved now up into the Moto2 World Championship, and he did finish on the podium twice here last year, so he's got podium pedigree already. You can see there at the bottom screen, first. The perfect start for Lucas Tulovic in 2022, but it looks like today, Jack, he's going to have a little bit of pressure on his hands, a little bit of a fight, because it does look quite close at the front.
Yeah, it does. As you can see there, number 81, just to the left of Lucas Tulovic, Senna Aegis, certainly doing an incredible job this year. I mean, he's come up to Moto2 from Moto3, where last year Moto3 he struggled, but as you can see him there, he is a slightly bigger chap, so he just kind of slots onto this Moto2 bike perfectly, and it just seems to gel extremely well. Of course, we know Australians that do lots and lots of dirt track back home. in Australia, and it's always the kind of favoured thing about Australians. You give them a bike with a bit more horsepower, a bit of a bigger bike, and they just click on it instantly. And once again, that whole thing seems to be coming true here with Senna. And this morning in warm-up, he was quickest. Of course, it was slightly cooler track temps this morning, but throughout the whole weekend, doesn't matter what session it is, the man that has been hot on the heels of Lukas Toledo is Senna Aegis. Yeah, just over a tenth splitting them in qualifying, so that's not really much at all. And yeah, like you say, he's jumped onto the bigger bike this year after being quite quiet on the Moto3 machine, and he's absolutely taken to it like a duck to water, as Senna Aegis said. So look out for the Australian. This is Alex Toledo, just missed the podium in both Estoril races, and of course in Valencia too, but he starts from the front row. First time he's starting from the front row this year. So what can Alex Toledo do on the number 55 machine? We will wait and see, but he's definitely in the hunt, is Alex Toledo. Yep. And so is the rider behind him on our screens now, Alex Escrig. Yeah, Alex Escrig doing a cracking job this year. Come up onto the Moto2 bike from stock 6 last year. Won that championship overall last year, the stock 6. And there you can see his results. Already 2 podiums this year, and has been doing incredibly well. He was in a good battle with Tulovic and Senna as well last time in Valencia, before then Aegis actually crashed out. I believe it was turn 12 or turn 11, and did a cracking job to come home to second place there. So plenty of confidence going for that young man, and we can see what he can do here. Yeah, that 7th place in Estoril was after a double long lap penalty as well, so if it wasn't for that, then you'd have to think Escrig would have been on 3 podiums from 3. So yeah, good job from Alex Escrig, and good job in qualifying as well. Now there's Hector Garzo. A lot of you will know who Hector Garzo is. He spent a couple of years in Moto2. In the last couple of years, he's come back to the Moto2 European Championship, and unfortunately, he's had 2 DNFs in Estoril and then crashed in qualifying in QP1 over in Valencia and suffered a bit of an injury, so he missed last time out in Valencia. So Hector Garzo, starting from 5th place on the grid, just needs to get points on the board here. A solid result to kick-start his season. Yeah, definitely needs some points, and this man who had a solid result last time out, 8th, but it's not quite exactly where we've seen him in the past. Of course, picked up podiums before in previous years. And he's certainly going to be one to watch. He's just a very solid rider indeed, is Piotr Wyszykurski, and had a World Championship wildcard here last week as well, so plenty of track time here in Moto2 at the Circuit de Barcelona. So you can expect to see him probably battling around that 4th, 5th, 6th position, we do hope. Here's Mark Alcoba, 7th place on the grid. He unfortunately crashed in qualifying too, but as you can see there, he is all okay. I think this is his first appearance in the Moto2 European Championship so far this year. So to come into the championship and slot it on P7 is a job well done from Mark Alcoba. He competes in the Moto2 World Cup, and he was 5th in Mugello actually. Yeah. So he's doing very well over there in the FIM Moto2 World Cup this year. Yeah, good strong ride, that 5th place in Mugello actually, certainly not bad. Mark Alcoba, one of these guys that's been a pleasant surprise in Moto2 in 2022. Here's Tommaso Marcon, who also was in Moto2 a couple of years ago, certainly doing a good job here. 9th on the grid, I do believe. Actually, is he in 8th there? Possibly there might have been a little switch, as Xavi Cardelus, we did notice actually. That's something that's just sprung to our mind. This morning in warm-up, he didn't actually take part, and we did wonder if maybe he was going to sit out the rest of the day, as we saw him hobbling around yesterday after the qualifying, so possibly that is what's happened here. Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Unfortunately for Xavi Cardelus, the experienced Andorran. So yeah, we won't be seeing Xavi Cardelus here today. Yeah, we did see him, didn't we, in the paddock, just hobbling around with I think an ankle brace on. Yeah, on his ankles. One of those like moon boots, wasn't it? Yeah. So looks like he's had a little bit of an injury, just Cardelus. So yeah, Tommaso Marcon moves up into 8th place on the grid, and that means Roberto Garcia here, qualified 10th, will move up onto the outside of row 3, his 3rd top 10 qualifying of the season. So Roberto Garcia doing well. Just had those DNFs in Estoril and Valencia. He was 12th in the European Talent Cup last year. He didn't score in Barcelona, so we'll be hoping to rectify that this year. Another solid top 10 for Roberto Garcia will go down a treat. Yeah, another one of these riders, Roberto Garcia, that just seems to go better on the bigger machine. Of course, he was in ETC last year, but then he actually debuted in the Moto2 class on a stock 600 last year in Valencia for the final round, and got 5th place actually. Yeah. So not bad at all from him. So certainly it just seems that, same with Senna Aegis really, just taken to this bike in this class like a duck to water. Yeah, it just happens for some riders. Obviously, the Moto3 bikes and European Talent Cup bikes are quite small. So if
you're one of these young guys who grow quite quickly, have a big growth spurt, you can get too big for them, and then you end up needing to ride a bigger bike to properly show your talent. So here is the grid, Ren. Starting from pole position is Lukas Tulovic from Aegis and Toledo. Second row is Escrig from Garzo and Bishikevsky. Row 3 is Mark Alcoba. Xavi Cardelus is on our screen, but he won't be riding today, unfortunately. So Tommaso Marcon will move up onto 8th place.
Yeah, of course, then you'll have to bump all these guys up. So Garcia 10th, is actually 9th. Then Mikel Pons, another Moto2 runner for Matteo Rato in 12th. Then Ruiz, Sanchez, who's making his debut this weekend, and Rodriguez. Then on to row 7, we have Tagliarini, Tapia, Ruiz, from Iozzo, Davis, Van der Lagemat, and then Aubry, Orgis, and Florov on the 91 on the back of row 9 of the grid. And then the remaining 5 that we have on rows 10 and 11 is Hoysuk, Strudwick, Tinker, Shiba, and Zeji.
So the riders then are ready for race 1 of 2 here in Barcelona. We've just seen the Junior GP class have a runaway winner. We've already mentioned the winner, but I won't mention it again in case no one's seen it and missed my spoiler at the start of the programme. But yes, let's see if anyone can beat Lukas Tulovic for the first time in 2022. We certainly should have a bit of a race on our hands because, like we mentioned, the number 81 of Senna Aegis has great pace. Alex Toledo has shown good pace as well, the number 55 there. And Alex Escrig, 4th on the grids, but he is also showing good pace as well. He was only half a second down in warm-up. We can't take too much from warm-up, we can take a little bit, of course. But it should be interesting races in the Moto2 European Championship. They do need to start beating Lukas Tulovic. He's 30 points clear already in the championship chase, and they've got 2 races here today. So if he has another 2 good results today, then it's looking like it could be his to lose at this early stage.
Of course, one man we have to mention before we do get underway in Moto2 is that we're still without the Brit Sam Wilford, who is doing very well this year after his crash in Estoril. He's still recovering, so we send our very well wishes to Sam. Of course, we've seen him around the paddock this weekend, walking very well indeed, so certainly big progress being made after his really quite horrific crash in Estoril.
Yeah, good to see Sam Wilford in the paddock, isn't it? Because it was a really, really nasty crash over in Estoril. Of course, not fit enough to ride just yet, but hopefully later in the year, maybe after the summer, we will be able to see Sam Wilford back on a bike because he has looked like he's taken a step up this year. So yeah, get well soon, Sam. As the riders then just get the brakes warmed up into turn 10. Probably going to see some action down here today, aren't we? Turn 10.
Absolutely.
Quite an infamous corner here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And the start is going to be important, I think. If they can get in front of Lukas Tulovic at the start, then it's going to ruffle his feathers a little bit. He probably feels like he's got a little bit of extra pace than the likes of Senna Aegis and Toledo and Alex Escrig. But if, like we saw in Moto3, well, for a couple of corners at least anyway, if the poleman doesn't get the start that he wants, then we have a race on our hands. So any early predictions for this one, Jack, or you're going to wait and see? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I mean, it's one of 2, let's be honest, really. Tulovic or Aegis, it's going to be one of them. But I do have a sneaky suspicion that once Senna Aegis gets into his groove, I think he's just got that tenacity to get the bit between his teeth and just drag a bit more out of himself than maybe what he's shown all weekend. So we'll see what happens, of course. If Tulovic gets a start and gets away early, then it is his race to lose. But yeah, I think Aegis, if he gets to start, is going to be the guy. There he is.
There he is indeed. All set then. The riders on their grid slots, staring down the long run into turn 1, and it really is a long run as well. Probably the longest on the calendar. So Aegis will be wanting to make a better start than he did in Estoril. Got the rear light lit up, didn't he, over there? Didn't get the best of starts. So here we go then. The red flag is cleared. The green flag is waved, and we'll soon be underway for race 1 of 2 here in Barcelona for the Moto2 class. And we are underway. It's Lukas Tulovic off the line well. Senna Aegis gets away well as well. So who's going to make the jump down into turn 1? They dive into the slipstream of Lukas Tulovic, getting away well. Just behind him is the number 11 of Alex Escrig. Is he going to make the whole shot? Yes, he is. So Alex Escrig from the second row. Well, he's making the whole shot, but he was a little deep, wasn't he, there? So Lukas Tulovic then goes up the inside, round the outside, and takes the whole shot round turn 3. He's got a little bit of a gap already, has Lukas Tulovic. So Alex Escrig doing well there, but just got a little bit hot into turn 1.
Yeah, very good start from Alex Screed on the Yamaha Philippines Stylo bike machine. Beautiful blue ribbon, but it does look though, just goes a little bit in too deep. Oh, has he gone deep again? Yes,
Very
both
deep.
of them have. Both him and Senna Aegis have gone very deep. So that is not the start for my early race pick. Senna Aegis down to 4th already. And it looks as though 55. Toledo's just come through into 2nd as well. As who's that diving at the inside of Hector Garzo?
Bishikirski, I think.
Yeah, great start for Bishikirski there. We did say that if he gets a good start, he can run with these guys early on and up the front, and that's exactly what he's done.
Perfect then for Lukas Tulovic. Didn't get the whole shot. Well, I pretty much did with Alex Skrieg running wide, and then Alex Skrieg and Senna Aegis running wide at turn 4. Allowed Alex Toledo to come through in the Pertamina, Mandalik and Sanjuvic bike. So Lukas Tulovic then, he's in the leads. He's going to try and get into his rhythm. Now, what can the chasing pack do? The start he's got, or the lead he's got, I should say, is up to 1.1 seconds already. So this is a crucial stage of the race.
Oh, 2 down.
Oi! Yes.
Not too sure who that was. I think Bishikirski got sat up in the middle of the corner, but I don't think... Oh, he did go down in the end. So it looks like Bishikirski and number 10, Tommaso Marcon. So disaster then for Tommaso Marcon on the AMR machine. He's gone down at turn 11 there with Bishikirski. That's such a shame for Bishikirski and for Marcon, as we did say that those guys, if they got a good start, would be on for a good result. So we lose 2 then on the opening lap. Tulovic, 1.4 seconds clear. Wow, that's a pretty good start indeed. It looks as though Senna Aegis has made up for his poor start on lap 1 through to 2nd. Right, now we've got a race on. That 1.5 gap, let's see what he can do. Can he close it down?
Good to see the 2 riders walking away, because that looked a little bit scary, didn't it? At turn 11, the kink just before you flick it right into turn 12. Interesting to see what happened if we do get a bit of a replay. But yeah, over on lap 1. Luckily for those riders, they've got another race this afternoon to try and bounce back. So 1.4 seconds then, Lukas Tulovic after a lap and a bit. It doesn't get much better than that for the number 3 rider. But yeah, like you say, Jack, the number 81, Senna Aegis, now in 2nd place. He can get his head down, lock his radar onto the back of Lukas Tulovic's Kalex, as we've got Corey Tinker down. I think that looks like turn 1.
Ah, that's a shame. So Corey Tinker then on the Vision Track Spirit machine. That's unfortunate. I think he qualified down in 25th. So he's gone down on lap 1 as well. Didn't see where that happened, but glad to see that he is okay.
Gap 1.3 seconds then between Aegis and Lukas Tulovic. Down into turn 10 we go, and that's Alex Skrieg going up the inside of Alex Toledo. Alex Skrieg, remember, 2nd in the championship coming into this race, and you can see his title rivals 30 points clear of him already, clearing off into the distance, or at least trying to clear off into the distance. But Senna Aegis has got to 2nd place, and he's immediately got his head down. He's cleared these 2 riders here. The gap down to 1.2 seconds. So Aegis, yeah, he's locked himself onto the back of Tulovic, as we see Garzo there battling away for 5th place with Mark Alcoba, the number 2 rider. So another lap complete. What's the the gap is down to 0.9 seconds on that lap. Aegis took half a second out of Lukas Tulovic. So it's not done, ladies and gentlemen. We have a race on our hands.
Yeah, his last sector was an absolute corker. Took just about 3 attempts out of him in the last split alone. So Aegis then certainly got a bit between his teeth, and he sees the number 3 just in front of him, and he wants to reel him in. Let's see what he can do over the next couple of laps, because Tulovic, we know that he's a man that takes a couple of laps to click into his rhythm, but then once he does, it's very hard to get him to snap out of it and get him to fluster. So let's see what they can do over this one. These 2 then in 3rd. It looks as though Alex Skrieg has just about got the measure of Alex Toledo now, and has, well, what's that, about 3-4 tenths of a gap. So see if he can drag Toledo with him or not. Mark Alcoba has definitely got his hands full. Who's he got there behind him? That's Garzo. Then I believe it is Garcia. I'm not too sure who that was at the back there. It's Rato on the other MMR machine, who was, of course, his teammate Marcon going down on lap 1. So 4-man little scrap there for 5th place. Toledo, sorry, not Toledo. Alcoba at the front of it.
Tulovic, of course, very experienced in this class. So Aegis is obviously pushing all he can to try and latch onto the back of him, which he needs to do. Obviously, he's now 0.6 seconds. So yeah, Aegis really is pushing on, as we see. Is that Alex Toledo running wide? No, sorry, it's Skrieg running wide on the number 11. So yeah, not good there, down into 10. A tricky corner, hard on the brakes, easy to make a mistake, but Alex Skrieg, the number 11, running wide. So it's going to be interesting to see what the gap is over line between these 2. Aegis done exceptionally well after a difficult start, running wide at turn 5. Garzo there just dipping his tyres onto the green paint. You don't want to do that too many times because you'll get a long lap penalty. What is it over the line then? It's down to under half a second. So Senna Agius has reeled in Lukas Tulovic and now let the games begin. I was saying Lukas Tulovic, very experienced, so he's got a wise head on his shoulders as Lukas Tulovic. He'll be understanding how to save the tyres. Don't push too hard in the opening few laps, which he's obviously pushing hard, but now he's got to the front, he could just find his rhythm and set the pace. But Agius has obviously had to use a bit of his tyre to bridge the gap, and it looks like he's done that now. So yeah, this is where it really begins to get interesting for the top two. And it's going to be interesting to see if Escrig and Toledo, what they can do, because they have obviously lost touch with the top two, 3.4 seconds down. So the win out of their sights now, and this is important for Escrig, like I say, because he is second in the championship. Yeah, massively important for Escrig, and of course Toledo up into that third place after the mistake. He's eyeing his first podium, but just for a reference for how good of a lap time that was for Senna Agius, he did a 43.7, half a second quicker than Lukas Tulovic, and then the next quickest man was Toledo at a 45.5. So Tulovic, the second quickest man, half a second behind Agius, was 1.3 seconds quicker than the third quickest man. These two are on absolute fire compared to the rest of the field, and it looks as though, well, it could just be a matter of time before Agius has a little crack at Tulovic in front of him. Yeah, Agius showed this pace back in Valencia. He got to the lead of the race, as we saw on the highlights, but then unfortunately crashed out in the early stages. He won't want to be making the same mistake again. Now he has latched onto the back of Tulovic. He can just settle down now, just work out where Tulovic is strong, where himself is strong, and where Tulovic might be weak. But he's going to dive into the slipstream here as we go on to another lap. 13 now laps to go, so a long way to go in this race. He's done the hard work as Agius now. He's just got to settle down, like I say, work out what to do from here, just find a rhythm. Not going to overtake him into turn one, but he is going to run wide slightly. So it cost him a little bit of time, around about half a second, a few bike lengths, but he's going to be able to reel him back in. Should do no problem. Yeah, 0.6 seconds, so a few tenths off there for Agius. Just got to calm down. He's done the hard work. Obviously, quite a young rider still, isn't he, compared to Lukas Tulovic in comparison, who's very, very experienced. So two contrasting riders here, of course, a rookie and an experienced veteran. So this is going to be a fantastic fight. Yeah, Senna Agius just 16 years old, and Lukas Tulovic 21 years old, I do believe. And of course, you will have heard of Tulovic before, because he did do a full season in the World Championship back in 2019. And interestingly, that was the first year when the Triumph engines came in. Of course, they got away with the old 600 Honda engines, and they switched these three-cylinder, lovely little Triumph engines in 2019, the World Championship. But here in Junior GP, in the Moto2 European class, this is the first year of these Triumph engines. So, of course, for Senna Agius, this is completely new, but for Tulovic, there is a little bit of memory there from what these were like back in 2019. Yeah, we should mention, of course, that not all the riders here are on the Triumph 765 machines, which have got a little bit of an advantage compared to the old Honda. And they've got a lot more advantage to the guys on the Yamaha R6 600 super stock bikes. So these two, of course, on the Triumph engines, as you can tell from the sound, beautiful sounding machines, aren't they? Very nice. My favourite, probably, motorcycle sound when they ring past the start-finish straight, bellows off the grandstand. It's something to behold, and obviously very, very quick as well. So Agius, he's just regathered on this lap, hasn't he? Another lap completed, 12 to go. Not quite close enough for an attack yet, but that will come if he doesn't make any more mistakes. Yeah, maybe he just got a little bit giddy seeing Tulovic come back to him, hand over fist there, and now he's just kind of settled back into that standard rhythm. Did a 44.5 that time around. With that mistake, it was only a tenth slower than Tulovic, so he's certainly got plenty in the tank there. I think Tulovic just had a slight twitch on the rear end, and that is something we're going to see a lot more as we go on in this race. This place is torturous on the rear tyre. They are spinning it up everywhere, all the way out of 3 there, they're spinning it up. This one particularly, 4, is quite incredible for the rear tyre. You can almost hear it screaming, please stop. Of course, we've come here and watched at the circuit many times, and yesterday was one, and you can just hear them coming around and see them constantly moving on the bike, searching for grip. It really is one of the places where the rear tyre takes a fair bit of punishment. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to come down here and go on the slip roads, make sure you do get to turns 3 and 4, because standing, a bit of a moment there for Senna Agius coming up through turn 8 into turn 9. Luckily held it together there, but yeah, like I was saying, if you do get a chance to come down here, it is a sight to behold. The riders picking the bike up, making the tyres squeal, and yeah, they've got to be really careful, especially on the right hand side of the tyre here, because like you say, Jack, yeah, turns 3 and 4 especially, they're absolutely punishing on the right hand side of the tyre.
Yeah, certainly are. Right now, it just looks as though St. Aegis just got a bit more on the front end into the corner than Lukas Tulovic. Looks really comfortable, lots of corner speed in, and it seems to be that's where he's making time. You can see there he closes up once more, just finding those crucial kind of half a tenth or tenth through the last couple of corners. But then it seems when we get onto the straight as well, he maybe just can get out of it a little bit better. You see there, he's right tucked in behind him now. Maybe we'll see a repeat of the move that he tried to do into turn one just a couple of laps ago. No, he's going to go to the outside, hold it for now, and very sensible indeed. He's not going to let Tulovic see anything that he's got because there is still 11 laps left.
Absolutely good stuff there from Aegis. Tulovic just moving across a little bit more of a defensive line, not too much though. I think that's just Tulovic's natural line. But yeah, Aegis just taking to the outside there, not thinking about a move at minute. Well, he definitely will be thinking about a move, just not performing it yet. They just overtake a back marker there as the two riders settle into a rhythm with 10 and a bit laps to go. This is really interesting now. Like you say, Jack, Aegis does look like he's got the superior pace, and the lap times do show it. It was another couple of attempts quicker on that lap, so it does look like if Aegis can get past, he might be able to break clear, but there's a long way to go. And as we've mentioned, tyre wear is absolutely crucial around this place, especially in this heat as well. 30 degrees it was before the race, not quite sure what it is now, but it's getting higher and higher. Track temperature will be creeping up to around 50 degrees, which is absolutely scorching, of course. So yeah, good stuff this from Aegis. A young head, but he's riding very well here, very experienced. Is he going to have a look down into turn 10? No, he's not. So you could see there, had a little bit of a look, but broke early, so he didn't want to try and overtake.
Yeah, it looks as though he's just very content to sit behind Tulovic, just study and see what Tulovic is doing. Of course, it's quite a good opportunity, even if he is faster, just to stay behind Tulovic. Tulovic is very experienced and an extremely good rider. Although he's had a crack at the World Championship and maybe it's not quite worked, he is still a very good rider for young 16-year-old ages to learn off, just as a benchmark to see what he does on the bike, how he works, and then see where he can pick up on that and then go on to improve. So certainly good idea to stay behind anyway. But well, we'll see what he does in the next couple of laps, because 10 laps to go. If he does have the pace to pull away from Aegis, we've seen it a lot of times in other championships. Of course, if you watch World Superbike at the moment, you'll know that Alvaro Bautista often, he'll overtake with 10 laps to go and just clear off into the distance. So we'll see if Aegis does the same.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about trying to learn from Lukas Tulovic. Of course, Aegis, a rookie in this class, still only very young on his road to hopefully MotoGP. So yeah, it's a good idea for him to stick behind Lukas Tulovic, very experienced, learn from him. And if he does feel like he has the pace, then maybe he can wait until there's around 5 laps to go, just to, yeah, learn from him, minimise the tyre wear, minimise what damage he's doing to that rear tyre especially. But he's locked onto the back of Lukas Tulovic. He had that early mistake down into turn 1, didn't he? But he's not looking like he's making a mistake here. He's actually looking like he's riding within himself to centre Aegis. So yeah, this is good stuff. And we're just going to look back to the gap. The guys behind are now nearly 10 seconds behind. So these two really are in a class of their own today. Yeah,
they're pretty incredible. 44.7, 44.8 last time round for Tulovic and Aegis respectively. And then the next guy behind, Alex Escrigue, was at a 46.4. So certainly these two are class above the rest, head and shoulders above the rest here this weekend, really pushing the envelope on their own.
Interesting to see if Tulovic is just not holding Aegis up as such, but just keeping the pace to what it is, looking after his tyres, of course.
Yeah.
Or whether Tulovic is pushing as hard as he can or going as fast as he can, and Aegis just simply has the better pace. So as we get towards around about 5 laps to go, if the pair are still locked together as they are, that's going to be really interesting if Lukas Tulovic can then turn up the wick, if Senna Aegis just turn up the wick as well. There we go. Again, Lukas Tulovic just taking a slightly more inside line, Aegis diving out the slipstream. Not interested so far in making a move up the inside down into turn 1. That's the most likely place with the slipstream. But as we mentioned at the top of the show, this place really has a number of great passing opportunities.
Ooh, here we go then. These two are locked back into battle again. Looks as though Toledo has just been relegated by Escrigue once more. So the number 11 on the Yamaha Stylo bike machine back up into 3rd place, and that will be an incredible job for him if he can get that 3rd place once again. So good stuff from both of these two. Really come on strong this year, liking what we see out of the pair of them.
Yeah, Escrigue, of course, the reigning Superstock 600 champion from last year, so he's moved on to the Moto2 Kalex chassis powered by Triumph, of course, the newly branded Yamaha Philippines team. So interesting to see their Yamaha doing more work. Of course, they've got the VR46 Mastercamp, haven't they, over in Moto2 now. So they're building sort of like KTM and Honda have got down the ranks. They've got a little bit of a pathway now for the riders to rise up into the World Championship scene. Still line astern then for these two with 8 and a few corners laps to go. The number 81 stalking the number 3 of Lukas Tudovic. Nothing between them, 2 tenths. It does not get much closer than that. Lap time is very, very similar, of course, as you'd expect. So they're in the high 44s, the others are in the high 49s. So they're a second a lap quicker around here are these two.
That's Hossi at the number 6. He's retired. Looks as though it's a bike problem rather than a crash or anything. Just explained to his mechanic there. Looked like he wasn't too sure what's going on. So we'll just check to see if there is going to be a move down into turn 1. No, he's very happy just to go to the outside and just remain where he is. So as there's a little bit of a stalemate going on at the front, then let's run you down through the top 15 at the moment as it stands. Of course, these two on your screen are class above the rest. 12.5 seconds, as you can see there, from Escrig, Toledo. Garcia doing a great job in 5th. Then Ruiz, he's also doing a fantastic job. Yere Ruiz, that is, the number 72 in 6th. He got 4th last time out, I do believe. In Valencia, certainly did. So another good ride from here. Alcoba on his debut doing well in 7th. From Rato in 8th. Garzo has slipped back down to 9th on the lead MV. Oh, up inside. No, not quite this time. Maybe just a slight rehearsal. See where he can do it. Then top 10. Montero is in 10th on the Kiefer Racing machine. David Sanchez, who's making his debut this weekend, also on the MV, he's in 11th, so the two MVs in 9th and 11th locked fairly close together. And Mikel Pons in 12th. Carl Paz, the other Yamaha Philippines stylo bike machine, he is down in 13th. And then you've got the top of the stock 600 runners. Fernandez, the number 78, is leading the stock 600 class. From Rodriguez, the number 38, and then Tapia in 16th.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a dress rehearsal, wasn't it? It just got the power on out of turn 4. You can line it up into turn 5 there, dive down the inside. Does look like Agius has got the pace here, if he wanted to pull away from Tudovic. And we should mention, actually, that Senna Agius is being helped this year by Leon Camry, of course, who heads up the Honda World Superbike team. So this is a perfect example of what you can do down at turn 5. Get a good run out of turn 4, the right-hander. Place your bike well up the inside of your competitor, down the inside, and make the move stick there, like Toledo perfectly demonstrated for us up the inside of Escrig. So yeah, that battle for the podium, the final podium position, is going to go right to the wire, as again we see copy and paste from the few laps before. Lukas Tudovic just holding the inside line, Senna Agius just holding the outside line, and it's as you were with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this from Senna Agius. Obviously, Tudovic will be looking at his lap board each time and just seeing +0 Agius, +0 Agius, +0 Agius. And he's probably thinking, what's he doing? When's he going to come past? He's just keeping the pressure on, making sure that Tudovic is just sweating a little bit, although there's a little bit of pressure released for Tudovic. A couple of attempts lost there from Senna Agius as he goes deep into turn 4. We've seen him go deep into a couple of corners now, so possibly he is pushing quite hard and not actually just sat there behind Tudovic at the front.
We've talked about the rear tyre, haven't we? But the front tyre for Agius might just be getting a little bit of punishment as well. Being that close behind the rider in front, we've seen in MotoGP, haven't we, with tyre pressures can creep up, especially in this heat. So yeah, Senna Agius just needs to be a little bit careful here. Another slight mistake, but it's not really a mistake. He only lost a 10th as he runs out onto the green there. He doesn't want to do that too much. We've not had a warning come up for Senna Agius, so he's all right at the minute, but especially onto the last lap. If you touch the green, you automatically get demoted 1 position. So yeah, just needs to be careful there. On the outside of turn 9 is easily done as you try and power it down the straight into turn 10. But this is going to go all the way, isn't it? Like we said earlier, it's interesting to see if Lukas Tudovic, if and when Senna Agius does try and pass him, what he's got in return with 6 laps to go as we cross the line.
Yeah, so this lap coming up then, this lap with 6 laps to go, is going to be the least poker face lap that we will see of this race. Because if Senna Agius can close this gap back in instantly, like we've seen him do it already in this race, then that is going to be an absolute tell that he does have more pace. It did actually pick up about a 10th and a half in that last split, but he lost a 10th in the split before. So we'll see what he does over the rest of this lap. These two certainly having a great ding-dong. The two Alexes going out at hammer and tong. Well, I'm a poet there, that's quite good. These two doing very well, number 55 and number 11, having cracking rides indeed. Of course, both going for the podium. Would be number 55, Toledo's first of the year if he can pick it up. And as the 2021 Stock 600 champ, that will signal a very, very good indication of the progress he's made this year.
Yeah, Toledo currently 4th in the championship, only 3 points behind Senna Agius after Agius's DNF, and Toledo's got a trio of top 5 finishes so far. So yeah, good job done then for Toledo, but that is going to go all the way. And what is going to go all the way as well is this. Still, Lucas Tulovic leading Senna Agius. 5.5 laps to go. Still stalking the back of the Liqui Moly Intact Junior GP machine is the number 81. He's very close here though. He's going to dive up out of the bubble earlier than Lucas Tulovic. So yeah, he's still looking, just working him out, isn't he? Just working out where he's strong, where he can pass. We've seen a couple of rehearsals, haven't we? I think down into turn 10 is an obvious move. We see that all the time here in Barcelona. Turn 1, of course. Turn 4 if you're brave enough, but turn 5 especially as well, where we've seen Senna Agius just pull out of the slipstream slightly, just get a little bit of a run and just work out if he's got enough on the brakes. But yeah, Lucas Tulovic's team there telling him lap 5, position 1 +0 as they come up to one of the back markers.
Yeah, so this is really crunch time that we're approaching now. Senna Agius still holding firm, sticking to that strategy of just staying behind Tulovic. I wonder if he's going to hold it all the way to the last lap and break his heart on the last lap. We'll see. We'll see what he does as we close down in these last 5 laps. But certainly then, that last lap that we did show, we asked if it was going to be the least poker face lap of the whole lot, and it certainly was. The poker face has been cracked then for number 81, Senna Agius. He definitely has the pace over Tulovic at the moment, but we do know that these last 5 laps are going to be crucial for that rear tyre.
I absolutely love that shot.
Oh, there you go. There's the first twitch that we've seen from Tulovic then. It could be time to pounce for the number 81, Senna Agius. Let's see what he does over the next couple of corners.
Yeah, good spot. I was just about to say, I absolutely love that shot of them coming out of turn 3, absolutely full gas. Senna Agius then looking up the inside. He's going to make a move this time. No, he's not. On the anchors earlier than Lucas Tulovic. It's a brave man if you want to pass down into turn 7, but we've seen it done before. It's if you get a good run out of turn 5, it is possible. One of the many passing manoeuvres, as we say here in Barcelona. Here's the, you could argue say, main one alongside down turn 1.
Defensive.
Very defensive from Tulovic. He's defensive down into turn 1 as well, isn't he?
He's gone wide.
He knows, he obviously knows that age is there. He's seen +0 on his lap board for, well, probably about 10 laps now. And yeah, like we say, Jack, this is where it's starting to get a bit busy. Agius climbing all over the back of Tulovic. And I think if Tulovic had a bit more in the tank, then he'd probably start using it right about now, because he has gone more defensive, which would suggest that this is about his limit. He's riding on his limit, and Agius doesn't look like he's on his limit to me.
No, definitely not. I mean, Tulovic has been pretty metronomic in this race, to be honest. I think this was the first lap round, or the last couple of laps anyway, with a dip back into the 45s. Here we go. This is the first time then that he looks alongside. Ooh, not quite. Ooh, Tulovic, a little bit of a twitch, but he does get it stopped. He's pretty good into turn 1 on the brakes, is Tulovic. Everywhere else, though, it seems as though Senna Agius just has a little bit of margin on the front end compared to him. But it does seem as though the pace that Tulovic has been running the last 10 or so laps is just started to drop off by a couple of tenths. I mean, Senna is the same as well, but he is just sticking behind him and waiting.
Looks like in the battle for the final podium spot in 3rd place, that Alex Skrieg has made the move. Alex Toledo there looking behind him to see a face full of Skrieg, and that was about as easy as it gets for the number 11. So not sure what was happening there. Maybe Alex Toledo wants to just have a look at where Skrieg is, but Skrieg looks like he's just broken him a little bit. The gap is now a second.
Slightly
so
wide.
That's interesting. Yeah, slightly wide there from Lucas Tulovic. He is pushing now. You can really tell that Tulovic is giving it all. The Senna Agius just is locked onto the back of him. I think it's going to be a telltale sign here and on the front straight. Breaking early again down into turn 10. With 3 laps to go, you'd have to think if Senna Agius has got a bit more...
Oh, contact!
Wow. Well, we thought he had a bit more. He was trying to go for the move there. We didn't really expect it to come there, but Lucas Tulovic did run a little bit wide. Senna Agius saw a gap and there was contact, so luckily Tulovic didn't go down, but, well, Tulovic definitely knows he's there. He definitely does now after a little bit of bumping and barging. Let's have a look at this then.
Yeah, well, we did say that Tulovic just looked as though he was struggling with the front end a little bit more than Senna Aegis, and once again he's got in there, got it a little bit crossed up on the way in, and bang! Hello, Lucas, how you doing? Up the inside. Look at that, once again though, he's not going through just yet. 3 laps to go, and he's keeping the pressure on. This is going to be a corker if it comes down to the last lap.
I wasn't expecting that. I did see Lucas Tulovic run a bit wide, and I'm not sure, because sometimes the camera can just lead you astray there with what lines the riders are running, but yeah, Senna Aegis making contacts there with Lucas Tulovic. But yeah, thankfully all okay. Tulovic didn't go down. Senna Aegis is on the straight and narrow as well. And we've got a fascinating battle here in the first of 2 Moto2 European Championship races. Is Aegis going to look up the inside here? No, he's not. Tulovic there.
Deep into the corner again.
Bit deep, but makes a late apex. Aegis just had a little bit of a look there, didn't he, before better of it.
Yeah, you can see just how much now Lucas Tulovic is starting to struggle. He's deep into the corner, cutting it back for the late apex. In fact, there, Senna Aegis goes a tiny bit deep, runs across track limits. He does need to be careful of that. Not too sure how many times he's done it in this race. That's one of the first that we have spotted. There's some nervous faces in the promo racing garage, and so they are. Their man is going for his first win of the season. Can he finally do it? The rookie sensation this year. It looks as though he might just be able to pick him off. Tulovic nice and tight through there. He's learned his lesson from last time. Got it a little bit more marginal on the front, braked a tiny bit earlier, and he's kept the lead for now.
I've seen Aegis go onto the green twice. Now, we've obviously watched him for the whole race. So if he does it a 3rd time, if he has done it for the 3rd time, we'll get a track limits warning pop up on our screens, but it's not happened so far. So yeah, looks like it's only twice then for Senna Aegis as we head with 2 laps to go, the penultimate lap. Now is the time for Senna Aegis if he can and wants to. Yeah, he's looking up the inside. Ooh. That's a telltale sign, but Lucas Tulovic just moves over slightly and holds it into turn 1 in 1st place. He's going to hold it in there. I thought he was going to run a little bit hot, but not this time around. You could tell there, Senna Aegis, the first time he's hinted towards moving over to the inside down into turn 1.
Yeah, there was just a slight flirt there with turn 1. He said, hello, how are you doing? But not today. So we'll see what he does. Number 81 then, Senna Aegis, certainly piling on the pressure, but Lucas Tulovic, round of applause for that man. He is withstanding it perfectly so far. He is on the limit. You can see now just how much he's standing that bike up through turn 4 on the exit, trying not to spin the rear tyre. He is struggling with that rear, and he's gone deep again. Is he going to pull it back for the late apex? He does. So, holding on, just a lap and a half to go. This would be a cracking victory for Tulovic if he can hold on. Yeah, I tell you what, if Tulovic holds on to this victory, round of applause. I mean, round of applause for both of them, but if Tulovic can hold off this pace from Senna Aegis, this pressure from Senna Aegis, then... Oh, he's deep through 9.
He is deep through 9. He's going to open the door. Wide, and Senna Aegis is through. So, the number 81 is through. A mistake there. I think a little bit of a commentator's curse from us there, Jack. Lucas Tulovic then runs wide at turn 9, and now he has all the work to do to catch Senna Aegis, because Aegis is pulling clear already. Senna Aegis has been tucked up behind the number 3 of Lucas Tulovic for pretty much the whole race after a couple of laps, trying to catch him up. Now then, what can Senna Aegis do? The young gun against the experienced guard. Senna Aegis versus Lucas Tulovic. 1 lap to go here in Barcelona, and it looks like Senna Aegis is breaking clear from Lucas Tulovic. It's going to be around half a second across the line. What can Lucas Tulovic do?
Yep. Flip the switch. It's qualifying time now for Senna Aegis. You've got to put in an absolute stalker of a lap. Here he goes then. You can see already into turn 10, just as he did the move on turn 9 where Tulovic ran wide. He was bobbling the front all the way into turn 10, but Tulovic isn't giving up here. He looks as though he's closer than 4/10. That graphic's lying to my eyes. Here we go, through turn 3. Tulovic is going to wind the wick up on that calyx. He's gone very wide indeed. He was pushing the front so hard through into turn 3 there. That could be costly. That might be too much of a gap, but we shall see.
He's still in touch, and Senna Aegis knows he's there. Senna Aegis hasn't been in this position before. The Liqui Moly team look on very nervously, as we'd expect. So turn 5 then, one of the main passing manoeuvres done and dusted for Senna Aegis. There's a couple more big ones to come though for the youngster, the young gun from Australia, and it's Sector 1 purple for Lucas Tulovic as well. So they are pushing hammer and tong here. Keep it on the tarmac, boys. If you go onto the green paint, you will lose a position on the last lap. No such troubles there for Tulovic. Around turn 9, he gets it lit up on the exit, shakes his head. He might know that this is done.
Extremely neat and tidy this lap from Senna Aegis doing it perfectly. You wouldn't believe that he's 16 years old and never been in this position before in the European Moto2 Championship. He is handling it masterfully through the third sector. There's barely anything between them. He's got 5 or 6 bike lengths, just 2 corners remaining that stands between number 81, Senna Aegis, and his first win in the Moto2 European Championship.
One more corner to go then here in race 1, and Senna Aegis, no mistakes round the final corner. Like there isn't, he will come across the line to win his first race in the Moto2 European Championship. What a win for the young Australian. Lukas Tulovic crosses the line in second place. The first time he hasn't won in 2022. I'll get my words out eventually. But yeah, Lukas Tulovic annoyed with himself across the line, but what a race that was from Senna Aegis. Alex Skrieg, the number 11 rider, will round the final corner and take the final podium position in the end quite comfortably from Alex Toledo. But Jack, what a race that was for victory.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, I should have put money on it with Senna Aegis. You could have been coffered up 50 euros or something. Incredible stuff then from the number 81. 16-year-old Australian. He has arrived on the European Moto2 scene. He defeats Tulovic, the man that's gone 100% so far in 2022, but no more. 3 wins and a second place for Tulovic. Cracking ride, you've got to say. Round of applause for Lukas Tulovic, the German. Fantastic to withstand all that pressure for so long, but just that one too many mistakes up into turn 9, went deep. Senna saw the opportunity and he took it with both hands. Congratulations as well to Alex Skrieg, as we do say. The Stock 600 champion from last year picks up another podium in 2022, doing a superb job this season.
Yeah, absolutely stunning from both of them, really. First and second, yeah, that turn 9 mistake, Lukas Tulovic. What'll annoy him most is it wasn't, well, it was sort of an unforced error, wasn't it, if we can call it that. Senna Aegis obviously right behind him for most of the race, so he knew he was there. He obviously felt the pressure a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily a passing manoeuvre from Aegis that got the job done. It was Lukas Tulovic making a little bit of a mistake. So Lukas Tulovic will be slightly annoyed at that, but nevertheless, in terms of the championship, another 20 points for Tulovic. First time he's not won, but he's still second place, and if you're not going to win, then obviously second place is the place to be. But race 1 belongs to Senna Aegis. Had a tricky opening lap, didn't he? Dropped down to 3rd place from 2nd place on the grid at turn 1, and then ran wide at turn 4, lost some ground on Tulovic, who opened up a 1.2, 1.3 second lead on the opening lap, and then Senna Aegis got into 2nd place, reeled in the German, and then just stuck behind him for pretty much the whole race until that mistake at turn 9. Alex Skrieg slaps his helmet, looking a little bit dejected there, but the final podium spot, he obviously wants to be a little bit closer than the 22 seconds than he was to the top 2, does Alex Skrieg, but another podium for the number 11. A deserved round of applause for Senna Aegis then. And now he's got that win under his belt. Like we say, he crashed out the lead in Valencia and obviously was absolutely gutted with that because he had the pace in Valencia to be on the podium at least and challenge for the win. But now he's got that win under his belt. What can the Australian do? 16-year-old, of course. Rookie in this championship. And they've got another race later on this afternoon, so that's going to be very, very interesting indeed to see how the race unfolds between the top 2, because 22 seconds back to Skrieg, you'd have to think, unfortunately, that it's going to be a race between the top 2 once again. Just try and listen here if we can hear anything from Tulovic. Yeah, the guy's saying good job, of course, and it is a good job. Absolutely. He led the race from start to almost finish on the penultimate lap. And then just wasn't quite close enough, didn't have the tyre left in him. Yeah, Alex Skrieg not looking too happy with 3rd place. He obviously wants to be closer, doesn't he, to the top 2, but it's another podium in the books for Alex Skrieg, so another job well done there. As we say, cruised really home to 3rd place, 5.2 seconds in the end over Alex Toledo. But yeah, for Senna Aegis, he has Leon Camier in his camp, of course. Camier obviously not here this weekend with the World Superbike riders and paddock over in Misano for their couple of races this afternoon. Obviously spearheading the Honda Racing factory setup is Leon Camier, but a very, very good man to have in your armour, isn't it, Leon Camier? And here is then the replay of Lukas Tulovic just running wide at turn 9. And from there on in, Senna Aegis didn't make a mistake, did he? Didn't allow Lukas Tulovic to get back within touch, within striking range for the race win. And this was the final corner then. No mistakes from the young Australian. Of course, the team happy with that. Can it be repeated in race 2? Once you get your first race win under the belt, that will be a huge sigh of relief for Senna Aegis and his team. The confidence will be absolutely sky high heading into this afternoon's race. And Lukas Tulovic will be out for revenge, so do tune in for that in a couple of hours' time. It's our final race of the day, Moto2 Race 2 here in Barcelona, and conditions, if you think they were hot this afternoon, it's early this afternoon, then they're going to be even hotter around about 3 o'clock local time for race 2. We're going to be hearing from Senna Aegis with Jack Gorst very shortly indeed, as the marshals there getting ready for our third race of the day, the only race for the Hawkers European Talent Cup riders. So if you fancy sticking around for that, it's always a fantastic race in the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Please do. We'll look forward to that. And then we've got race 2 from the Junior GP class after that. And then, like we say, the final race of the day, our 5th race, the second race for the Moto2 European Championship riders. They'll be on the podium in a few minutes' time. But we can now hear from Senna Aegis down in Parc Fermé with Jack Gorst.
So, Senna, you're the rookie sensation in Moto2 and you've got your first win already. How does it feel?
It feels so good because even though we're rookies, it feels like I've arrived quite quickly. So it actually feels like we actually earned this because we've been working from day one, and the team is amazing and my rider coach Stephanie is amazing. That did not come easy whatsoever. Lukas was kind of knew my strong points, even though he wasn't looking back, which is quite good, quite impressive. But I took my opportunity on the inside of turn 8, and then I just set my last 2 laps, and it was enough to do it. So I'm super happy.
Congratulations to see you in race 2.
Here's the podium then for race 1 of 2 in the Moto2 European Championship. So a couple of technical issues there. I think we're back underway now, all okay. Senna Regis on the top step, of course. The winning team's trophy there. Hopefully for their sake, it'll be the first of many in 2022. Certainly looks like it will be, doesn't it, with Senna Regis and Lukas Tudovic going head-to-head. And from afar, that looks like Circuit de Barcelona, who is going to be presenting. It certainly is. Handing Alex Escrig the third place trophy. Escrig not looking overly impressed, it has to be said, with third place, but another job well done there for the reigning Superstock 600 champion.
Yeah, right you are, Chantra, and then there's also Agura as well here. I almost headbutted Chantra as I walked around the corner, so quick apologies to get there. yeah, so almost barreled into him as I walked around the corner. You can see Agura just off to the left there. Of course, Moto2 race winner and championship challenger in the World Championship now. As he hands the first place trophy then to Senna Regis. Fantastic job there from Senna. I have to say, I couldn't really hear him down there with the earpiece and all the party atmosphere going on, so I'm sure that he said some lovely words. But yeah, congratulations.
He was basically saying that it was in talk after the national anthem. Great for Senna Regis then to hear the Australian national anthem ring around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Yeah, as we were just about to say before the national anthem, he was basically saying that it was impressive that Tudovic knew where he was strong, even though he was behind him. And he said, obviously the race didn't come easy for him, which was quite obvious, really. Yeah. But did a fantastic job, didn't he? Senna Regis looked in total control, apart from the couple of mistakes he made. But yeah, Senna Regis and Lukas Tudovic head-to-head, round 2 this afternoon. Let's wait and see. And Alex Toledo looking, sorry, not Alex Toledo, Alex Escrig looking a little bit disappointed with third, but he will be back for race 2, I'm sure. So here's the updated championship standings then after race 1 here in Barcelona. Senna Regis moves up into second place, now 30 behind leader Lukas Tudovic. Escrig drops down 1 into third place with Toledo in 4th. Mateo Rato in 5th. Yere Ruiz in 6th. Xavi Carlos, who is unfortunately not with us today after injuring his foot. He is down there in 7th place. Montero, Tagliarini, Mikel Pons, the injured Sam Wilford, Tommaso Marcon, who crashed out with Piotr Biszczykowski, Jamie Davis there in 15th, Gianco in 16th, and Mark Alcoba picking up 8 points on his debut here in Barcelona in 17th.
Lucas Biszczykowski there, who had that crash at the start on lap 1. He was down there in 18th in the championship standings, and the rest of your runners there. So then, that is Moto2 race 1 complete for us. As you can see, it is still glorious blue sunny skies here, and it really is quite toasty indeed, and the action's only going to get hotter as it approaches 1:45 local time here. 3 more races coming up for you, and the next one is going to be very interesting indeed and extremely exciting, as it is the Hawkers European Talent Cup. Of course, these guys as young as 13 years old. It's incredible how quick they are around this Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya circuit. But then here's the Stock 600 Championship standings at the moment. Alex Ruiz leads the way in that one, doing an incredible job. Marco Tapia is just 16 behind from Chiba in 3rd. Dino Iozzo in 4th, Ryan van der Lagamat, then Thomas Schubert, Kevin Orgis, Michal Florov, and Eric Fernandez down in 9th. Philip Rehack's in 10th, Jacopo Hosik, then Juan Rodriguez, Kilian Nestola, Zek I'm not too sure how you pronounce that one. Zedji, something like that. I apologise, absolutely butchered that name. But here's the man at the top of the classification at the end of that one. Number 81, St. Aegis. Got the monkey off his back, and it didn't take long at all. Already a race win in just his 4th Moto2 European Championship race. He is the rookie sensation, the young 16-year-old Australian. Watch out for him in race 2 as he goes for the Barcelona double.